All right, so in this segment, we're gonna be going over our football drill database. Coach Mike next to me is gonna be running the whole show of teaching us from the basic drills to the intermediate drills to the advanced drills for you guys to teach your players. So right now, we're gonna dive right into it.
All right, so first we're getting into O-line drills. We're getting into blocking drills, and coaches, make sure we're trying to get the base very strong because, you know, it's very important. So what we're gonna do is, pretend Sal's a kid, what we're gonna do is feet shoulder width apart. We're stressing that our feet are straight. I don't wanna see feet buckle out or buckle in. Very important, little things matter the most. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get them to sink their hips. Okay, a lot of kids tend to try to lean forward with their back. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna tell Coach Sal, drop your hips, almost like you're sitting on a toilet bowl. Rest your forearms on your legs. Now, this is basic start. We're gonna want him to put his hand down without putting too much pressure onto the ground. So put your right hand onto the ground, right in between your legs, right there, perfect. Head up. Now, this other hand that's resting, we're gonna keep it just right in front. If you notice on the side, his back is flat. We wanna see a table look. That's very important, how important to stress that flat back. You know, we stress to kids that we keep a glass here or any object that's not gonna fall off. If you see that his butt is too high or his shoulders are too high, it's not good. Stress that. So, right after we're teaching them the basic three-point stance, now we're gonna teach them a little progression step. First step is what we're doing now. So what we're gonna do, again, feet are gonna be straight, shoulder width apart. You don't wanna be too wide, you don't wanna be too close, because then we take away our balance. So we're gonna tell him again, squat down, sit. Now notice how he's putting all the weight under him. Three-point stance, I wanna put your hand down. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna teach him without moving his back. Remember, flat back, very important. Without doing anything else, we're not lifting up our bodies up, we're not moving anything. All we're doing is our right foot is going about 6 inches in front of us. The reason why we do this is because we still want to keep that balance and that strength in the structure. So, Sal, take a foot. Now, that was a little too wide, so we're gonna teach, which is literally, we're placing the toe to the heel, and this is as far as we wanna go. Toe to the heel, very important, we wanna still keep that strength in that structure. Notice, back, stressing constantly down. Notice where his feet is. Very important that it's like a train track, that we're just replacing toe to heel. Keep stressing to them, toe to heel. You wanna see that toe and that heel almost straight line. Go. We're gonna progress into another thing now. Now what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna progress and almost like a train. We're gonna go from right to left, right to left. Same thing, 6 inches, literally replacing toe to heel. You wanna stress this because again, we always wanna keep our body under us, our feet under us. We always wanna have our strength and our structure. Three-point stance, go. Now what we're gonna do is this is a progression. The next step is our left foot is gonna come replacing toe to heel. Go, go, go. Now, one of the most important things on an O-lineman. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna teach them what to do with their hands. Now, we're gonna do the same exact thing. We don't want his body to pop up, but now we're gonna have our hands shoot. Our hands are gonna come out in front of us, thumbs up, because we want our elbows in, and we're gonna actually get under the guy's shoulder pads, and we're gonna drive. Doesn't matter if it's shoulder pads, doesn't matter if it's t-shirts, doesn't matter if it's going under the armpits. It's very important how we're teaching them to keep their thumbs up, their elbows in. Very important that we wanna be, our head level wants to be under their head level. So, we're gonna do this all together, and most important, guys, stress to the kids, watch their feet, check your feet, check your back. When they're shooting out of their first step, you don't wanna see them pop up. You literally wanna see the body still low. It's very important that we're getting under the man. So we're gonna show with Coach Sal, down, set, go, go, go. Now, notice how Coach Sal is still keeping nice and low so he can get under the man. His hands are ready to shoot under the guy's shoulder pads or under his armpits to drive the man. Most important, leverage. Let's do it one more time. Feet straight, coach. Go. Go. Good. Very important, guys. Stress the feet, stress the table back, the low back, and most important, always talk to them. Let them know what they're doing wrong or right. Don't just sit there and accept what they're doing. It's important that the little details matter the most. All right, so we went through the progressions. So far, we went through 3. 3-point stance, making sure the back is flat. Second, we're taking that first step. Then, third is our steps right after that. What we're going to do now is very important. We're going to teach them how to shoot their hands. So we're going to go from 3-point stance directly right into taking that first step, second, third, fourth step. But now we're going to be learning how to shoot our hands. Very important. Remember, I told you, thumbs are always up, elbows always in. Reason being is because you don't ever want anybody to get inside you. So what we're going to teach them is on this bag, we're going to teach them hands are going to be on the outside, thumbs up. And notice how his hands are going to grip. We're going to still stay nice and low. We're going to have the elbows in, and this is where our power is going to come from. So what we're going to do now is we're going to actually go into a progression. We're going to go from 3-point stance, first step, second step, and then we're engaging into the bag. Okay, so now we're going to put it all together. We're going to have Coach Sal demonstrate how to properly do this. And just remember, when he does engage into the pad, it's going to be after your first step. You're going to engage, and you're going to follow each step after that. But again, keeping low body. You want to keep that low level of gravity, center of gravity, where you don't want him popping up and pushing the bag straight. You want him to still stay nice and low and be able to drive the bag. So let's put this all together now. 3-point stance, making sure his back is flat, butt up. Now notice how his body is. We're happy. His feet are straight, his head is up. Now we're going to go into the first step while engaging, and then we're going to take the steps right afterwards. Go. Push, drive. Now notice how his feet are replacing each other, toe to heel. Very important that we keep that way, because what happens is if we're taking those long strides, we lose our strength and our balance. We don't want that. So we want to make sure that whenever they are doing it, make sure it's done correctly. Very important that you're stressing to them. We don't have to take huge steps. Our power is going to come from stay nice and low and pushing with our arms. So coaches, we're going to do this one more time. And again, make sure you stress that they're doing the proper techniques. It's very important. Those little details matter the most. If they are doing it right, make sure you encourage them. Let them know, hey, that's a great job. Instill that we're doing a great job, because what happens is now they like, oh wow, I just did a good job. They're going to repeat that pattern. This is very important how we want to be. Always encourage, and if they are doing it right, still encourage, but also tell them, great job, and look, your feet, straighten them out. You get more strength that way. And explain to them why we do what we do. The reason why we keep our feet this way is because this is our strength. The reason why our legs aren't so far or so close is because this is our strength. You always want to let them know what they're doing, right or wrong. Make sure you're always on top of it. Okay, coaches, so now we're going to put this all together. We're going to go all the steps all together and making sure they're doing this right. Right now, Coach Sal is going to demonstrate this without any pause. He's just going to go from first step all the way to the end. Go. Drive. There we go. Good job. Very good. Now make sure that they're engaging in the pad. And you know what? You want them to have a little effort. You want them to get under it. You know, challenge them. Say, you can't push Coach Mike, or you can't push me. You can't do this. Challenge them. You want to see them give that effort, because it's very important that we engage and we have that effort and make sure that everything's all put together. So right now we're going to put this all together full speed. We're not going to, Coach is not going to, he's actually going to push me back. And again, make sure that the kids are engaging, make sure that they're, you know, doing everything proper, putting it all together. Ready? Go. Good, good. Make sure again that we're constantly telling them they're doing a good job, fixing their mistakes. You know, if you can't see from the side, try to look around the bag. Try to see if their feet are straight. Try to see if they're taking that first step right. It's a key that you always are constantly talking to them, because we want this done right. Okay, so this segment, we're actually going to start working defensively. We did everything offensively we wanted to do, so now we're going to do defense, which is very important. So what we're going to do is this. Same thing the way we did with offense. We're going to go defense. First step, 3-point stance. Now, it's a little different than we do actually with the offense. Now we actually want them to be on their toes a little. You want them to be a little heavy on the hand because their first move is directly into the offensive lineman. It could be on the outside, anything, or directly in front of them, really doesn't matter. This is how we're gonna show. The way we're gonna teach a three-point stance defensively is we wanna have almost like a sprinting stance. You want to still feet shoulder width apart. You want to put the right or the left foot, really wherever their strong dominant foot is, back a little. Now what you want to do is, again, you want to stress how our toes and our feet are straight. Now what you're going to do is, coach, just tighten it up a little, right there. You're going to squat down and you're going to put your right hand or left hand forward, whichever you're comfortable with. The other hand, we never want to keep loose. We always want to keep it ready to engage, to shoot out. What's important for a defensive player is that those hands are ready to go, shoot out into the middle of the offensive lineman's chest. So, notice how, coach, you want his base to be a little wider. So widen this out a little. Now notice how we're in a pretty decent three-point stance. We're gonna tighten it up, but this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna teach him, stand up, coach. We're gonna teach him foot back, not too much. You wanna sink your hips and you wanna put a lot of weight on that hand. I like going right foot back because right foot is my dominant. I always want to push off that dominant foot. So, doesn't really matter, whatever the player is more comfortable with, you want to find his comfort zone. So what we're going to do is, hands always ready to engage. You never want to lean the hand on the leg. Sink the hips a little more, bend your knees. This is our stance. Put the hand out forward a little more. Put the hand, this hand forward, right there. Now notice how he's putting all his weight on the front of his hand. That's a key. The reason why is because our first step is always forward. We're never going to stand up. We're never going to look around. We're always applying pressure. That's our job as a defensive player. So this is our first step. Remember, getting them into a good three-point stance. If you don't like something that they're doing, fix it. Don't just accept it. So what we're going to do again, he's going to get into a good three-point stance. Use your opposite leg. You always want to have like almost a tripod. You want to have that look. Good. Sink the hips, a little more hand forward. Now notice how this hand, a little more forward, you want to put a little weight to that hand because what happens is when you put the weight to that hand, your first step is going to be forward. Not like an offensive player where our hand is light. We'll teach that. Defense, if you want to be a step forward. So we taught him how to get into a proper three-point stance, but what's very important now, and it's probably the key to all defense, is shooting your hands. The minute you get up, you want to fire the hands. And most important, just like on offense, this becomes a chess match. You want to have your thumbs up, your elbows in, because now we're fighting for position. But what's important on the defense is that we always want to fight for the position, but lock out fully. You want to have his arms fully extended. The reason why is because we don't want to be, have our vision blocked. We don't want to be engaging into this guy because our job is to get away from the guy quick. So this is how we're going to start working with our progression. We're going to get him into a three-point stance. He's going to fire out, and we're going to teach him right away, engaging, locking out the elbows. The further we separate from the offensive player, the better off we are. Now we're going into second progression, firing the hands. Right now, without using this pad, we're going to incorporate this in a few minutes, but right now we're going to ask him to take the first step and to fire his hands out. Remember, when he fires his hands, you want your thumbs up and you want your elbows in. And notice how he's fully extended. That is a huge part of defense. That full extension is what's going to get us to get off of this man, the offensive player, right away. So, good. Now notice how his hand is. This hand is already ready to be extended. This one's going to follow right after. All we're going to do now is we're going to tell our player to go, and all we want them to do is take this step forward while shooting their hands. That's it. Ready, go. Now notice, you see how his elbows are bent. We're going to stress to the player, keep him locked out. Reason being is because now when we're behind this, our body is going to push him, keeping that strength behind it. If you have your elbows bent, they can push you back in. We don't want to do that. We want full extension. One more time. Go. Good. Now, defensively, it's a little different than offense. Offense, we're teaching the guys really not to take a large step. This one, you can take a little bit more of a step. Really doesn't matter, but our thing is always keeping our feet going, always driving them backwards. So now what we're gonna do is, I like to incorporate that first step with the bag. The bag is key and is essential because you really want them to feel. You wanna feel your player, your athlete, actually hit the bag. You don't want them to be soft on this, you don't want them to hug it. You wanna feel them hit the bag and drive you back. Right now, we don't want them to drive us back. We're just gonna engage into our first step, going into actually engaging with the bag, that's it. So we're not driving, we're not doing anything. First step, hit, that's it. So Coach Sal is gonna demonstrate three-point stance. And all we want him to do, down, is engage. That's it, first step, engage. Go. Good. Now notice his head is up, his arms and elbows are locked out, and he already took the first step. Very good. We're gonna do it one more time so we could show how an athlete should do it. And again, let's stress getting into a good three-point stance. And again, let's see how they're comfortable. Most important is how they come out of that three-point stance. Are they slow? Are they sluggish? We want them to be quick. And coach, not too wide of a step because we still want to have strength under us. We're gonna do it again. Set. Go. Good job. Now notice how he pushed me back and I felt that jolt. That's what you want to see from your players. If they don't give it to you, talk to them. I want you, most important is always constantly just telling them, great job, good job, you could do better. You know what, I want to see your hands fire out, thumbs up. Stress the little details, most important. Okay, so what's important is this, I don't want us going, rushing through the steps. You know, if we got to teach the first step over and over again, do that. I want us to make sure that we're doing this right. I usually work on my players every day, doing the first step, second step, third step, that progression. I do it 4, 5, 6 times every time because you want to make sure they're doing it right. It becomes a muscle memory. You constantly want to just constantly doing the same move constantly. After a while, your body, your mind, everything comes all together and then it becomes second nature like riding a bike. So what we're going to do is this. Right after our progression, our first step and then engaging, we want to work into almost a swim move. Now, a swim move could be just used as a swim or could be used in combination with a club and a swim. You know, what happens is the club is actually to help separate you a little from the man, and the swim is to help you get past the man. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna show you with Coach Sal on how we work on this. All right, so what we're gonna do next is we're gonna teach them, going into the progression, just the club. Because that club could be worked in with the swim, or it could be just a swim by itself, but a club is very important. So what we're gonna teach our athletes what to do is we're gonna teach them right after that step, we're gonna teach them just a club. Now, instead of progressing to full extension, we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna have them take the step, club. Take the step, club. Now notice my foot and my hand go together. Very important because without the foot behind, the hand doesn't have enough strength. But if our step and the club at the same time, that's a very powerful move. So what we're gonna have Coach Sal do is getting into a three-point stance, progressing into just the club. Go. Now, what we wanna do is we wanna stress the foot goes outside the man's body. So, if you notice, Coach stepped directly in front of me. I wanna see a little more to the side where I'm already trying to get past the man at the same time pushing. Set. Go. Now notice how I already went back that way. That's very important. Try to tighten up your leg a little more and straighten out your feet.
Yep.
Go. Now notice, he pushed me to the side, making sure that his head is looking forward. I don't want the head down, I don't want the head up, I want the head already looking into the backfield to see what's going on. We're gonna do it again, we're gonna put it all together, and now what you're gonna do is you're gonna tell him to club and just try getting past me, that's it. So you're gonna take that club step, hit, and then that other leg clears. Let's try this with Coach Sal. Making sure we get into a good three-point stance, straighten out your feet, Coach. Put a little more weight to that hand, remember? Go. Good.
Bad footwork. Do it again.
We're gonna work on that. So what we wanna see is him making sure, right after we take that club step, we come past. Doesn't really matter how you do it, make sure we clear the man. So we're gonna, right after our step, club, going around. So now what we're gonna teach Coach Sal to do is making sure he clubs, he clears the man. Now what's key to this is that you wanna start getting him to be comfortable with both hands, with both feet. Because let's just say we're clubbing this way, you want that club foot to be back. So if we're going opposite direction, same thing. We're gonna switch our feet. So this club foot is taking the step into the gap first. It's the same foot, same hand. So when we engage, go. Now notice how we're going this side, he clubs and steps at the same time. So teach your athletes to be versatile, to use both hands and both feet. Very important. Right now we're just going this side. But again, this is something I want to constantly stress, that you are constantly repping this. If one of your coaches, one of your athletes are constantly doing it 4 or 5 times, they become better at it. Repetition works. So constantly rep this. Don't just go into something else. If you see a player having issues, work with him. Pull him to the side, teach him. Very simple. So right now we're going club right. We're going to club clear, and Coach Sal is just going to take one step past me. Very simple. Set. Go. Now, make sure that your player's hands are heavy on the ground and that butt is up. You really want him coming charging forward. Very simple. Right now, Coach is just showing basic steps, but you want to see them be a little athletic. You want to see them pass you. You want to see them engage in a pad. Tell them, hit the pad. It's not going to hurt you. Hit the pad. Don't be afraid. So, now that we started this, now we could change it up. Now we could put something behind the club, what I call a swim. What we're going to do is we're going to club and we're going to swim. It's a little different, where we're not just trying to get past the guy, because now the guy's trying to get under us. So without avoiding him trying to get under us, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get over him. So this is called a swim. The way the swim works is simple. We're going to use the club. So remember, same foot, same club. Now, instead of coming under the guy, I'm going to come here and I'm going to swim over the guy. Now, you don't want to have the player arms too high. You literally want to come in almost a punch through the guy's shoulder, right here. The reason being is because when we come up too high, an offensive player can get under you and you're in trouble. So you really want to have as little, exposure to this guy. So we're going to step, punch, right here with the club, over his shoulder punching. Punch through. It's called a swim. We're going to have Coach Sal demonstrate, and the key to this, very important, that we're getting nice and tight over the guy's shoulder. Remember, as an offensive player, he's not going to pop up. So it's not going to be, you don't have to go too high unless he's a big man. But right now, we're going to teach club, so 3-point stance, taking the step, club, and going over his shoulder. Swim move. We're going to go from the club to the swim. Same move, but now what happens is the club is pushing the man to the side, giving us a little more of a chance to swim, an easy swim. So we're going to have Coach Sal demonstrate, again, every single time, stressing, feet shoulder width apart, getting into a good stance. If they're not into a good stance, always reload, say, hey, no, get into the right stance, doing a great job. I just want to see. Little things, again, stress it all the time. The smallest details mean the most. Now notice, on defense, his butt is up a little higher. He has more weight onto his hand because his direction is going forward. So right now we're going to do a club to a swim. That's it. We're going to progress. 3-point stance, club, foot, swim. Go. Now notice how he punched over the shoulder. We want to stress that. Now, depending on how that punch goes behind, works on how better the swim is going to be. We're going to do it again, but again, we're going to stress to the player. We're going to be tight because there's going to be other people on the side. So literally, it's going to be a little tight of a move. So sometimes when we do club, look how thin we are. We're getting thin, coming around. So now we're going to have Coach demonstrate again, club to the swim. And remember, we're stressing that we're going over the, punching over the guy's shoulder. Set, go. Good job. And again, constantly reinforce. Good job, you did great. Even when you're correcting at the same time, stress to them, you're doing a great job. So, here's our next progression. Let's just say right now, the offensive player is starting to get used to us clubbing or us swimming. Okay, so now we showed how to club, we showed how to swim, now we're going into the rip move. The rip move is very important because what happens is we always want to come at the approach the offensive player differently. You don't want to keep doing the same move because then after a while, he's going to know how to approach it. So you're going to always constantly change it up, whether you go to the right, to the left. A lot of times coaches are going to tell you, we're going rip right, rip left, which means you're ripping. Now, what we're going to do is this. We're teaching the player how to rip. Now, the way my coach taught me was he used to explain it as chain link fence. If you ever went to a schoolyard when you were younger and you had a fence with a chain and you had to squeeze under, that's how he used to teach us to rip. Very important with the rip is that you want to get as low to the ground because you want to get under the man. It's almost like picking up a coin onto the ground. So again, you want to stress using both feet, both hands, and now we're going both directions. Right now, Coach Sal is going to show us how to go right side. Very important to this rip move is that we're going to teach you could either club or you could rip right from it. Ripping right from it is more of a speed technique. If you have to club, meaning the guy's a little bigger and he's stepping in, we can use both ways. I'm going to teach you how to club and rip, and I'm going to teach you just how to rip. Very simple. So right now we're going to have Coach Sal demonstrate it. Right now he's going to demonstrate club and rip. Same as the swim, and you could do the same thing with the swim, club and swim, or just a swim. Right now we're teaching club and rip. Again, stressing, making sure he's in a good three-point stance. Set, go. Now notice how Coach Sal got low. I would like to see him kind of squeeze in a little more. Almost, again, stressing the chain link. You want to get in between two poles, and how do we do it? We can't go square because we're never going to go in. So literally, we're almost picking up a coin from the ground, coming through that chain link fence. We're going to do it again, and we're going to have Coach stress. That hand that he's ripping is almost grabbing a coin right here on the ground. Good three-point stance. Set, go. Good. Now, we just want to teach our player to get it past the offensive lineman. So stressing that we really don't want to get caught up in the guy, that we literally want to get around the guy. So we're going to do this one more time. And again, stress. Keep doing it over and over with your players. Have them do it 4, 5, 6 times until you see he starts getting comfortable. We're going to have Coach Sal demonstrate it one more time. Go. Perfect. Again, constantly reassuring, letting them know, doing a great job. Always critique. Always teach them what to do. Now, instead of the club, we're going right into a rip. This is where you want to get to the backfield as quick as possible. Now we're not doing anything, but just ripping through as fast as we can. Good three-point stance. Go. Good. Keep stressing. Making sure, picking up a coin. If you want to throw a towel on the ground, you want to put anything on the ground, just to stress, this is what we're picking up. Okay, so now what we're doing is we're teaching a bull rush. The bull rush is great right after we teach them how to get out of a three-point stance and how we teach them engage. Now what we want to teach them is we want to have the thumbs up, elbows in, and you want to drive the offensive player back, stressing that you want to get under the player and hopefully try to lift him up while driving him back. Because the minute the offensive player's body lifts up, it's easier to drive him to that direction. If our offensive player is still down and low, it's going to be tough to drive him back. So you want to get under him, and you want to lift his shoulders up and drive him back. Let's stress this. We're going to have Coach Sal demonstrate it. Right now, we're going to progress. We're going to go from three-point stance, engage. Three-point stance, engage. And then we're going to tie it in, three-point stance, engage, and drive back into a bull rush. So right now, Coach Sal is going to demonstrate. All he's doing right now is shooting the hands, taking that first step. Set, go. Good job. Making sure that they're engaging into the pad. You want to see them engage into the pad and you want to feel it. Set, go. Good job. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go into the progression, engage, driving back. I want to see that player, thumbs up, grabbing the pad. You can physically grab because as a defensive player, we can grab, pull a jersey, we can do a lot of things. So I want to make sure that my player is engaging, driving me back, and really putting some force into this. set, go. Good job. Now notice how far he drove me back. You want to see that. The only thing that I want to see is Coach Sal was still a little too close to the bag. I want to see that separation while driving me back, because then after that, we could go into a swim, club, etc. Let's do this again. Set, go. Good job. Now notice how his arms were locked out and he's driving me back. Make sure the players are engaging, and if they're not, talk to them. Explain to them the importance of it. Constantly stress, this is why we do this. So, off of the bull rush, we could go off anything. So from the bull rush, we could go into a rip, club in a rip in a swim. You could do anything you want. You could change it up, and this is what we always want to do. You want to have fun with this. You want the players to enjoy this. You want them to constantly do something different. If they constantly do the same thing over and over again, it gets boring and we lose their interest. Always keep their interest. Let's do this again. Now, I'm going to leave it up to Coach Sal, whatever he wants to do. He's going to bull rush me 2 steps and right away wants to get off of me and make the play from the backfield. And remember, always teach the player to always be looking in the backfield, to scope, scan, see what's going on. Now, I'm not going to tell Coach Sal what to do. He's going to do it on his own. He's going to go from 3-point stance, engage, lock out, and get off right away. You literally want to do this within 2 seconds. Set, go. Now notice, separated, ripped right off. Great job. Stress to them. That was a great job. I love what I saw. If for whatever reason he got tangled up or whatever, explain to him why. Maybe it was a little too wide. Stress, grabbing a towel, grabbing a coin. Stress to them exactly what you saw and always work. Make sure their footwork is always right, because again, we start getting into lazy habits. Stress this again and work both sides. Make sure that we're not just always going right, that we're going to go left, because you always have to approach this differently. You're not always going to go right. And work both hands, because a lot of times I can club strong with my right hand and not my left. Work on both. Stress it. Okay, so now what we're doing is we're going progression. Right after we taught them how to bull rush and get off right away, whether we go into a swim or club, it doesn't really matter. Now we're going to teach them how to look into the backfield, look for the runner and the ball, and what are we going to do from there? Tackle. Very important. We're going to go into this move, show it real quick, and now what we're doing is, what are we looking for? We're defensive players looking for the guy with the ball, and we want to stop him in his tracks. So we already showed Coach Sal getting past the player. Very good. So now what we're going to do is incorporate the dummy. We're going to use this, and we're going to teach the players how to tackle. Now what's important is this. We never want to engage our head into the player. We want to avoid concussions and injuries. So what we're going to teach our players what to do, out of a 3-point stance, they can do anything. They could fake a swim, they could rip, whatever they want to do on air. They don't need a person in front of them, or if you want, you can have somebody holding the agility bag, doing the move, passing, looking for the guy with the ball. I usually like to get everybody, involved. So instead of having the kids just stand there and not do anything, get them engaged. Have one of them hold the pads, have the other one get engaged. Get him into a 3-point stance. Let him do whatever he wants. Let him have fun with this. Let him go into a bull rush, swim, rip. Doesn't really matter. The minute they pass that offensive player, this is what we're doing. We're going for the man with the ball. So what I'm going to show you with Coach Sal, I'm going to have Coach Sal out of a 3-point stance, shoot his hands, come out to the dummy, and what I want him to do is buzz his feet about 2 feet before. The reason why is you don't want to teach a guy right after, he passes the man to automatically go tackle the guy. Because then what happens is, if he's running full speed and without buzzing his feet and he takes a side, he's going to run right past him without being able to make the tackle. So what I would love to show, and have you guys show, is let's pretend this is the guy with the ball. Right after I get past doing my thing, whether it's swim, rip, bull rush, I'm going to come at the player, buzz my feet about 2 feet before the guy. Buzzing the feet means just chopping your feet, getting your feet moving. You always want your feet to move. Reason being is because if he decides to take a step to the right or to the left, I could follow him. So, makes my job easier. So what I'm going to teach the player, and what you're going to teach the player, is right after we get past We buzz our feet before, he could take a step in whatever direction, and now I'm starting to think about where I'm gonna place my head. I always wanna place my head outside the man. Take the step and wrap up. But we're gonna teach that with progression. So right now, all I want you to do, have the player in front of you, 3-point stance, come out of it shooting his hands, going for the dummy, buzzing the feet, that's it. Then we're gonna incorporate him wrapping up. Let's show with Coach Sal. Now, we're gonna stress right now, Coach Sal is doing it on air. If you want, when you have the players and they're engaging in somebody who's hitting the pad, that's great, that's what I wanna see. But right now, we're just using on air. We're gonna use Coach Sal, he's gonna shoot his hands up. You could do this with all the players, doesn't really matter. He's gonna come as fast as he can, sprint to the man with the ball, buzz his feet, and that's it. Set, go. Good. Now, his feet are always gonna be buzzing. Stress, the only time they stop buzzing their feet is when you tell them to. So let's do this again. As hard as you can, Coach Sal. Go. Good, stop. Now notice I said to Coach Sal to stop, he stopped. You wanna make sure they follow directions. It's very important that they have those feet buzzing, because if they don't buzz, all this running back has to do is go left or right, and he's running right past you. Now, we're gonna go into another progression step. Now we're gonna have him do that, and he's gonna choose either left or right. So if this running back goes this way, you wanna put your head on this side, wrapping up. So we're gonna have right now Coach Sal demonstrate on air. What he's gonna do is he's gonna actually sprint, buzz his feet. When I say hit, he's actually gonna hit. But I'm gonna choose a direction of where the ball handler is gonna go. Set, go. Buzz your feet. Good job. Now we can have a lot of fun with this. Make sure that we put the proper stuff on the floor, whether it's padding or if we're on grass, we don't want the kids to get hurt. Make sure we're stressing that we're wrapping the head in the direction he's not going. So if he goes this way and you see the player put the head here, that's not good, because now what happens is we're getting contact to the head, which we're trying to avoid. So make sure if they chose wrong, explain to them why. Let's do this again on Coach Sal. Sit, go. Head opposite direction. Remember, we never want to go to the direction the guy's running, because that means the impact is going to the head. That's good that he demonstrates the wrong way to do it. Okay, now we're doing same thing on air. Again, making sure the head is opposite the direction we're running. Set, go. Buzz your feet. Good. Again, we can have so much fun with this, because now they get to tackle things, fall on the floor, and have fun. Make sure, key, have fun. All right, so next thing we're learning is how to catch and receive. We have to start off with teaching them the basics on how to catch the ball. Basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna form a diamond, and no matter how we go, whether it's side to side or over the head or in front of us, we're gonna use a diamond. The only time we ever go pinky to pinky, it's when it's low. So what we're gonna do now, I have Coach Andrew, we're gonna demonstrate with Coach Andrew just basic forms of catching. 5 yards is enough. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give him a nice little throw, and I just wanna make sure he uses proper form. Do this a bunch of times, 5 to 10 times, make sure they're comfortable, and try to change the motion and the range. You wanna do it side, above the head, so we can get the idea and the concept of it. Now remember I told you, when you throw low, when it's under, you're gonna go pinky to pinky and catch it this way. Very important. Lastly, what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually start working on over the head throws. Over the head throws, we do a different form of catch. It's called a bucket catch. The way this works and the way I like to demonstrate it, you don't have to have them doing routes. You could keep it short distance. But Coach Drew, come here. Coach Andrew is gonna stay on the white line facing that way. And I am gonna dictate what side we're throwing. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna throw it nice and easy, a quick little lob, and I'm gonna have Coach Andrew catch it a bucket. Now what happens is I'm going to throw nice and easy over his shoulder. So instead of him turning his body, he's going to catch it nice and easy this way. All right, so now we're going to demonstrate the over-the-shoulder pass. Now, right now, I'm dictating where I'm throwing. So if he's on the outside, I'm going over his left shoulder. He's going to catch it on the left side. Very simple lob. And then what I can do is now we can face the same direction. Now I go to this opposite shoulder, and he's doing the same exact thing with a bucket. Most important, we're teaching them pinky to pinky. We don't want their hands so wide where the ball, they have to come back so quick. We want to teach them that their hands are going to be up nice and close. Same thing with the diamond. We want to teach them, because a lot of kids have that bad tendency to do this. We want them right away to learn how to catch here, nice with the tips of their fingers, not hitting the palms of their hands. One more time, we're going to demonstrate. Over the shoulder. Very simple. Now what we want to demonstrate is when we do the diamond. Very important, we don't want the wide hands. We want to have it nice and close. And whenever they throw, no matter what area they're throwing, we're going pinky to pinky. Every time we're going here. This is proper form, always using our fingers. If you want to teach them with a tennis ball, they could just simply throw the ball up in the air and just learn how to catch with the fingers and the fingertips. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to start teaching them how do we want a proper stance in the start. So let's just say I'm the quarterback. What is a receiver going to do from here? Now, we're going to always teach the receiver to have his inside foot to be a lead foot. Lead foot is the one he starts off with. That bad foot is going to be the outside. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a line as a guide. You can do anything in the gym, wherever it is, have a little bit of a guide. We're going to have the lead foot on the line. You're going to have the back foot about 2-3 inches behind, and then you're going to have a nice athletic little bend. Notice how Coach Drew is standing. This is the perfect bend. We're going to make sure that they're not looking at the quarterback. The receiver's always looking up right where he's going to run his route. We never want to give any type of direction where we're going to run or anything like that. Coach Drew is showing perfect start and stance. From there, the minute we say hike, all he's going to do is take that first step and he's off to whatever route he's running. Now notice how Coach Andrew's stance is. Nice bent knees, nice athletic step. We're looking for this and making sure that this inside leg is always towards the quarterback. So whether I switch sides, that's what happens, he switched feet. So if I'm on that side, what are we doing, Coach Andrew? Very simple. So no matter where the quarterback is, whether he's on this side or that side, is where you determine that inside leg, lead leg is going to be. All right, next what we're teaching is we're going to teach how Coach Andrew is going to react off of whoever the defensive player is. So let's just say the defensive player is 5 yards back. What route is he running and what we're doing off of that? Very simple. We always want to teach them to use their hands. So what we're going to do is, if somebody's up close and they want to try to stay in front of them, defend them, we're going to teach Coach Andrew to get off the man by just swiping the hands or getting past the hands and getting around the route. Very simple, and it's all up to him to get away from the defensive player. So I'm going to be the defensive player, and all I want to see is Coach Andrew react to me. Very simple, very quick. Go. Notice how he did almost like a karate move. He blocked my hands from getting back inside him. You can use any alternate ways. You can teach the kids any ways. You can teach the swipe. You could teach knocking them down. You could even teach them knocking them up. Doesn't really matter. That's up to you. Okay, so right now we're going to actually teach them to run proper routes. We're going to run probably about 5 to 6 routes. Right now we're going to do a 5-yard in. Most important is that when we show, like right now 5 yards is going to be on the 10. When he gets to the 10, he's going to plant his foot and he wants to stay directly on that line. You don't want to see a bubble. You don't want to see a curl. Nothing. A simple 5-yard route. It's going to be a 5-yard in. Make sure you let them know and work both sides. You know, do 5 on the left, 5 on the right. Get them used to turning their hands both ways. And again, still using our diamond shape. Go. You could speed up the route. At first, you could do a nice little 3/4, run or a little jog just so they could get the idea. And then you progress from there. Challenge them. let them go quicker. We're gonna do it one more time. I'm gonna throw the ball, 5-yard route, 5-yard in, make sure we stress it. What are we doing now, guys? 5-yard in, and work on it. Go. Now remember, notice, he's catching his hand, he's catching with the diamond, very important. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna change it up and we're gonna do a 5-yard post. Post is a little different from a 5-yard in, because now instead of going straight, we're gonna kind of go on an angle. So instead of following that line, now we're breaking off that line and we're going maybe towards the middle of the field. So right now, he's gonna catch it on the 5-yard line, which is pretty much 10-yard route. So at the 10-yard marker, he's gonna actually start to break off into that angle, which is called a post. Go. All right, the next pattern, what we're gonna run is we're gonna run a 5-yard to 7-yard button hook. It's either called a button hook or a comeback. The reason why it's called a comeback is you're gonna run as hard as you can to a certain spot. You're gonna plant, turn back around, causing the distance between you and the defender. So we're gonna demonstrate now with Coach Andrew. Go. Go. Nice, simple, making sure that even if you want to add another, kid or anything like that, you can add a defender where they can actually stop in front of the defender, take that step up, turn around and catch. You can work it any way you want, but make sure they're still using the same pattern of the diamond. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get into what we call a fly. A fly is very simple. We're running deep. Right now we're going to run 5 yards, but what we do is this is where we went before with the over the shoulder. Knowing that we're throwing over his left shoulder, his inside shoulder, we want to get it to a point where he's going to catch and use the bucket. Stress to the kids the bucket catch. This is where this comes into play. Go. Just to remember, work both sides. A lot of people are more comfortable with their left side or with their right side. You want to do both sides, get them comfortable with both. Our next route is going to be a 5-yard out. I'm using 5 yards. You can use 10, 15. That depends on you. But right now I'm showing a 5-yard out. Same thing as an in, except now he's going to actually take a step on the line, bouncing outside towards the sidelines. Coach Andrew is going to demonstrate. Go. Now notice how Coach Andrew turns around, still using the same form. It's a little tougher, this catch is a little tougher because some kids running and trying to catch it on the side is a little difficult, but again, we're trying to use both sides, work 5 or 6 catches each, both sides. We're gonna do one more demonstration with Coach Andrew. Go. Good catch. Our next route is gonna be a slant. The way a slant works is pretty simple. It's a 2 to 3 yard step and literally coming straight in. It's similar to an in without being strict on, coming in. He can actually go a little bit of an angle, but it's literally 1, 2, that third step coming in. Doesn't really matter whether it's 1 or 2 steps. On this, remember, when the quarterback is throwing, what foot is, going to be on his inside, that's going to be the step he takes. So what we're going to do with a slant, actually, Coach, on this side, what we're going to do on a slant, he's pretty much, his viewpoint is going to be about 1 to 2 yards. You could put a cone down to kind of dictate where we're going to go. But from there, he's not running straight. He's taking 1 step, kind of coming in on an angle. Very short route. Go. So our last route is the bubble route. The way the bubble route works, primarily for running backs or you have a slot, what we're going to do is we're going to have the receiver or we're going to have the running back actually take that deep, wide step like he's going backwards, and he's going to bubble around. You want to stress a nice big circle because you want his body to be able to turn inside before he gets to the line of scrimmage. Coach Andrew's going to demonstrate. Go. Bad throw, but you get the point. Coach Andrew's going to demonstrate one more time. Watch how his body, and again, we want to make it a nice round motion. Go. The minute we catch that ball, make sure we're planting our foot, always going for the touchdown. So now we're getting into this part where now we're working on the defensive side of the ball. Now we already worked on the receivers and the catching. Catching's still important on this side, but now we're actually going to teach them how to defend against the receiver. So probably the most important thing is our first start, our stance. It's going to be almost like the receiver. We're going to be backpedaling, but now we're going to get into this motion. I like to keep the receiver on my inside because I never want anybody on the outside. What happens is a defensive player, his last job, he's the last line of defense on the outside. So what you want to do is you want to keep, let's just say on the receiver, you want to keep to his outside just in case I stay in, he could stay with me, or if I go out, he could stay with me. You don't want anybody going to your outside. You always want to be able to stay with the man. Right now, Coach Andrew is going to demonstrate a simple back pedal. Again, we could start this off with a simple, nice walking back, very simple. Then we start to go a little faster and faster until we can get him to go full speed. Right now, Coach Andrew is going to demonstrate just doing it a slow back pedal. Go. Good. He did a good job. Notice he's not dragging his heels. He's using the tip of his toes. You want to use the balls of your feet on this because when you start using your heels to drag, your heel would get caught up and you'll fall backwards. Notice how his body leaned forward and he was nice and low and his nose was over his knees. Let's do this one more time. A little quicker now this time. Go. Good job. Make sure that he's nice and low. Make sure his form is right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to incorporate something very simple. Now we want to teach them to open up their hips. So while they're doing their back pedal, they're either going to open up to the outside or open up to the inside. While we do that, while he's opening up, the reason why we're doing this is because we're teaching this man that after a certain point, if this receiver's running, that he can't catch up to him backpedaling. So he's going to have to open up and start running with him. So we're teaching him how to open up his hips and actually staying with the offensive player, with the wide receiver. We're going to have right now Coach Andrew just backpedal about 3 to 4 yards, and he's going to open up to the inside, still looking at the receiver and following him with a run. Go. Good. Now we're going to do it the same thing, but now we're going opposite side. So it's very important, the same way he did it on the inside, we want him to do it on the outside, open up and go to the outside. And again, make sure you could work with another athlete. You could have another kid run with him, have a receiver do a route and have him follow him. But right now we're teaching him up to open up his hips. Now he's opening up outside. Go. Good. Now notice how he turned his body and he's still looking. We're pretending that the receiver's there, or we're looking at the quarterback, but we're looking at that receiver, sticking with our receiver. We're going to have him do it one more time and demonstrate it the proper way, full speed. Go. Good. Now, what you can do is you can alternate it. Go 5 yards and 5 yards. So have the receiver backpedal, open up left, then switch it up right. Coach Andrew's going to demonstrate. Go. Good. Again, if you want to start off with a slow pace, 3/4, half speed, doesn't matter until they get comfortable enough to do it full speed. Okay, so now building off what we just did, now we want to throw a little wrench in it. What we want to do is we want to have him backpedal, open up, and now we're going to throw the ball to him. Now we're going to see if he can put everything all together. So what I'm going to have Coach Andrew do is Andrew is going to actually run, open up. He's going to backpedal, open up to the inside, and I'm going to throw it to him. He has to react to it. It's going to happen in the game, and we want to see how he opens up and how he catches and put it all together. Go. Now we're going to do the same thing, but going opposite way. So we're going to open up outside, and he's going to catch the ball that way. Go. Good. Now remember, you could go both ways and you can alternate it. So we can open up left, open up right, and then when he finishes off opening up whatever direction he wants, you throw the ball. Now we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to do what they call a high point. He's going to be doing the same thing, but I'm going to throw the ball as high as I can, maybe even to the point he can't catch it. But you want him to see him react and try to get to the highest point possible, because there's going to be a point when the ball is thrown to the receiver and you want him to jump up and try to swat at that ball and grab the ball. So this is called a high point. And again, Doesn't mean that this is something he can catch. You want it to be to the point where you're getting him to reach high. I'm having Coach Drew actually backpedal, go inside, and I'm going to throw it as high as I can to get him to react to it. Go. We're going to demonstrate it one more time just so you can get the idea of it. And again, you want to throw it up nice and high. Even if he doesn't catch it, you want him to see that effort. Last one. Go. Good job. And the last thing we're going to do is we're actually going to work with right now we don't have a receiver, but we're going to work with two players. You're going to have a receiver and you're going to have a defender. And what we're going to do is this. I'm going to pretend I'm the receiver. You're going to have him run full speed going with me. And what you want to show is how he stakes with me. You want to have like almost a hand on the man. So we're teaching the back pedal, always having a hand on me. And then when I go outside, he's turning, opening up his hip, trying to stay with me. This is where you have two players, and you can, the more players, the better. You can have two receivers on each side, see how they defend, whatever the case is, and throw the ball. See how their reaction is. That's simple. So now what we're learning is how to teach them how to throw the ball. Being a quarterback is not an easy job. It might look easy, but it's not. First, you got to know how to throw the ball. See, we have laces on this football. Depending on the size of the kid's hands, whether they're big or small, is how we're going to throw the ball. Now, I always use the laces. I tend to have my last 2-3 fingers on the laces, and my hand is pretty much at the tip of the ball. If a kid has smaller hands, you want to choke up a little more. So literally, you want to see as little as that point as you can. You don't want to see them throw it in the middle, or you don't want to see them throw it like this, because this is when it wobbles. When you have the ball like this, it's very simple. Hold the ball, and you're going to almost like fully release. You're going to see how you overthrow. So notice how slow motion, I'm here. What you want to do is you want to pick a point. You're going to have a receiver, or you can have a basket, anything, any type of target to have them throw. What we're going to do right now is just very simple and very basic. I'm going to have a simple catch with Coach Andrew, but you want to make sure that we're opening up our hips and throwing the ball. So right now, and this is not how a quarterback throws, I'm going to stand straight, and all I want to do is just teach them how to open up their hips. Release. So very simple. Right now, I'm going to throw to Coach Andrew, and all I'm going to do is turn left, turn right, release. You could do this a few times, 5, 6, 10 times, getting them comfortable, getting them nice and loose. And then you can have them go on their knees and do the same thing. What happens is on your knees now restricts your body a little and makes it a little harder to throw. But you want to challenge your athlete. What I'm going to do is demonstrate one more time and make sure that the ball, when we release it, we're nice and high and it's coming over our head. You don't want to see anybody sidearm it. You don't want to see anybody push it. You want to see a nice little throw. One more time, we're going to demonstrate with Coach Andrew. Very simple. Notice how I'm nice and high and releasing the ball up top. Have that target. Have them do this as many times as possible until they get comfortable. I always tell my quarterback to aim for a point. Right now, Coach Andrew has this big circle on his chest. That's the point you want him to aim. You want to aim him middle of his chest. That's our target point. Make sure that they're releasing the ball, and if you notice that they're releasing the ball too high and the ball is going high, you adjust that. So now what we're going to have Coach Andrew do is take a drop step. The way we're going to do the drop step is we're going to have him bend, shoulder width apart. He's going to look athletic, and notice how his hands are on the laces. This is how he's going to throw the ball. He's going to take a drop step going pretty much as straight as he can. The way a drop step works is when you open up that back foot, that other foot's going to come over, and we're going to try to go as straight as we can. Coach Andrew's going to demonstrate. On him. Ready? Go. Good. We're going to do it one more time, but now what we're going to do is we're going to have Coach Andrew, when he stops at that yellow line, to have a little bit of bounce to him, because we always want him to be mobile. We don't want him to plant his feet and get stuck, because sometimes he might have to get away from a defender, and he's going to be mobile, looking for a throw. He's going to be looking, scanning the field, looking for that open throw. Make sure that they're going straight back. Ready? Go! Good. Notice how he's on the balls of his feet, he's bouncing and he's scanning the field. That's very important. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna incorporate all different equipment. We can use agilities, we can use hurdles, we can use even a ladder. You wanna use everything you can to get the quarterback's footwork going. So what we're gonna do now is instead of crossing our feet, we're gonna have him lift his legs over our feet. We want him to be mobile, we want him to be ready to throw the ball. Same thing, at the end of every drill, you're gonna want him to be bouncing and scanning the field, ready to throw the ball. This is where you can have another player, another kid on the corner, or a coach, and ready to be thrown to him. So what we could do is we can, right after the drill and he's bouncing, have a receiver, quick throw, simple. Let's get him working with his feet and his mind and his hands together. Ready, go. Good. And again, make sure that our eyes, instead of paying attention to the hurdles, knock down the hurdles, it's okay. We'll work on that. But make sure his eyes are always up, scanning the field. Coach Andrew's gonna demonstrate. Go. Good. Good. Now what we can do with the hurdles is do constant different variations. You don't have to do, you don't have to do the same thing all the time. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna do ins and outs. So what happens is, let's pretend coach is throwing this way, and with the hurdles, we're gonna be going back, side, in and out. It's gonna be very simple. Boom, boom, switching feet. And we wanna see Coach Andrew go in and out and be athletic with this. Ready? Go. Good. So now what we're doing is we're changing it up. We're still using the hurdles, but now instead of going this way, throwing the ball this way, now we're gonna have him react, and we're gonna go in and out, pretending our receiver's this side. Coach Andrew's gonna demonstrate. Go. Good. Good. We can do all different type of drills using the hurdles, always constantly making his foot work better. Very important, a quarterback not only has to be able to throw the ball, but he has to be able to react with his feet. Now we're teaching our quarterbacks to roll out. This is where defensive play is coming from his backside, and he has to get away, cause separation, and try to get the ball off to the receiver. Notice what Coach Andrew does. Go. Okay, now we're actually going to show the opposite direction of rolling out. So now, since we rolled out to the right, now we're rolling out to the left. Depending on how the person is throwing the ball, if he's right-handed, this is going to be a little more difficult, but what we're going to show is with Andrew, we're going to demonstrate how we kind of make it a little easier. He's going to roll and turn. So here's Coach Andrew demonstrating how to roll out opposite side. Go. Good. One more time. Go. Most important, we always have the receiver out there to get ready to catch the ball. You always want him running and throwing on the run. Make it uncomfortable. This is how they learn to be better quarterbacks. The last thing what we're going to show is we're actually going to show a quarterback doing those moves, but what happens is now he's getting pressure from both sides, and now he's just going to run into a hole. So what we're going to do is we're going to have Coach Andrew demonstrate. He's going to go, be athletic, he doesn't see anything, and he's going to run to try to get as many yards as he can. Go. Good. Now, most important in this drill, that you want to teach the quarterback to have the ball high and tight. The way we hold the ball high and tight is where we grab our first two fingers, our index and our middle finger, we cradle the tip of the ball. The other tip is going into my elbow, into my armpit, nice and high and tight across my chest. Notice how the ball is a little under my breastplate. You want to keep it nice and tight, so if they try to knock it out, they can't. It's very important because you never want to lose the ball and fumble it and give the ball to the opposite team. Okay, now this is the portion where we're doing the conditioning. Conditioning is going to start in the beginning of everything we do. And again, let's keep this simple, let's keep it basic. Right now we're only using 3 hurdles, but I like to use 5 to 6. What we're going to do is we're going to stress certain things. I'm going to have Coach Andrew demonstrate. Right now we're doing high knees. The importance of the high knees is getting the knees, the point of the knees, as high as we can so we're not dragging the toe and knocking over the hurdles. If the kids do it, just stress to them why they're dragging their feet, whatever the case is. This is really good for your hips. This is really good to get you guys warmed up and ready and loose. Coach Andrew's going to demonstrate. Now we're doing 1 foot in the box, means that we're only going 1 foot in. So we're going, placing 1 foot in, making sure we're stressing, getting the knees up nice and high. Coach Andrew's going to demonstrate. Go. Good. We're going to do it one more time. Notice he's only putting 1 toe in the box, going to the next box. Go. Now, notice that when his knees goes, we want the arms to go too. So let's stress that. When the knees are going, the quicker the arms go, the quicker the legs go. Now we're going 2 in a box, meaning we're going to touch the toes, each toe, left and right, in each box, and we're getting those arms going, moving quick. Ready? Go. Good. We're going to do it one more time. Have Coach Andrew show and demonstrate arms, quick toes, 2 in a box. Go. Good. Now what we're going to demonstrate is we're going to demonstrate a side shuffle. The side shuffle is almost like the high knees, but now what we're doing is facing opposite direction of the hurdles, and we're going to try to clear the hurdles by getting our legs up nice and high. We're going to tell Coach Andrew to face the fence, and what he's going to do is he's going to try to get that 1 hip clear over and get into the next box. There's only 1 in a box on this. You could do 2 in a box, but it doesn't really matter. We want to stress him getting that hip over. Go. Good. Now what I like to do is the same way. I like to alternate it when he's going left, right after he goes left, to go right, to show the opposite direction in the same drill. Let's show this now. Go. Good. That drill is very important because we're teaching them, if anybody's on the ground or if we have to get over a hurdle or whatever the case is, we're showing them how to be mobile. Now what I like to do is I like to do a drill. It's called ins and outs. It's basically teaching them how to backpedal, quick, react, sprint. Backpedal, quick, react, sprint. Coach Andrew's going to demonstrate. Go. There we go. Notice how Coach Andrew plants his foot and pushes off. Plants his foot, backpedals off. Very important. Now what we're going to do is we're going to show very simple drills. These are like bunny hops. You're going to use both feet together and you're going to hop over the hurdles. You could do this with ladders. You could do it with the agility bags. You could do it with hurdles. You could do this with anything you need. You have anything at the gym, cones, doesn't matter. Bunny hop. Ready? Go. Good. Now remember, we're going to have 5 to 6 hurdles or whatever the case is. Make sure they're working hard and just have them go one way. The only time we go both ways is we're doing the side shuffles. One more time. Go. Good. Last thing we're going to do with the hurdles, we're going to do one-legged hops. We're going to go right leg, we're going to go left leg. So we're going to have Coach Andrew go right leg going, left leg going back. Ready? Go. Good. Perfect. I like to start off with our basic stretches. Doesn't have to be too crazy, doesn't have to be too insane. We're going to do it nice and simple. What we're going to do is we're going to have Coach's feet together. We're going to have him touch his toes, 10 seconds, making sure you count. Good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing, but now we're going to spread the feet and we're going to go both hands on the ankle. Try. If you can't grab your ankles or if you can't touch your feet with both hands, touch your knee. Try to get further and further every time. If you notice that one week a kid could only do it, holding his thighs, great. Gradually progress to, go further and further down. Coach, right side, left side, holding both. Notice how Coach is holding both, stretching out. Hold it for 10 seconds, switch. Hold it for 10 seconds, then down the middle. What I like to do down the middle is I like to tell them to be reaching out from under your legs, like you're trying to, push the dirt or the sand under you, past you. The reason why we do that is because we want to try to get a full stretch in our hamstrings. Then after we do this, this is where we get into the high knees, so on and so forth. Okay, and the last thing we're going to do is karaoke. Karaoke, the way that works is actually we're going to be facing the fence, almost like the side shuffle, but we're stressing the knee going over. So right now my knee, I'm going left, My knees stress going over, back, over, back. And we have to go both sides. So if we go left, you want to go right because you want to show the opening up the hips. I'm going to have Coach Andrew demonstrate both sides. Go. Now make sure we're stressing that knee that's going in front of us and going over, that's nice and high. Again, if they're having a hard time doing it, start off with a simple walk where we're just teaching them. It's just simple, nice and simple. Get them into that routine, get them into that rhythm. They're going to get it eventually. Start off slow, build from there. All right, coaches, thanks for everything. Listen, make sure, very important, that they have fun, that if they're having a hard time doing it, start off slow, build, encourage them constantly, and make sure you're always giving them good advice, always making them laugh, always making them feel, confident, and just make sure constantly you're letting the kids know they're doing great. Correct what you have to correct, and just always be positive. Thanks for watching.